Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We did a story earlier about polling and how bad it was for the SNP. We have another polling story here, but this is a different company. This is from Ipsos Mori. This is the SNP's in-house polling agents. They're the ones that are paid £5 million a year and who, virtually every time, spin it in such a way as to make the SNP look like they're successful or not failing. Try to put a gloss on it. They absolutely glitter the turd. Well, it doesn't matter how much glitter you got, it ain't going to get better, because even Ipsos Mori, with all their pro-SNP machinations and deviations, cannot polish this one. It's bad. And we're going to take a look at the numbers, and we're going to ask why, even now, with Ipsos doing it, it's so bad. Reality, I think, is going to be way, way worse than this number suggests. Let's take a look, see what's going on, and see why they must be very, very worried in Butte House. Here goes. So even the SNP's favourite pollster thinks they'll lose over 30 MPs. But 12 Scottish seats are too close to call. Now this is Ipsos Mori. They are pro-SNP. As I say, they always try to spin it to make things look so much better from the SNP. Even, as I say, way better than things actually are. They bend reality in order, I think, to make the SNP feel good and to perhaps put out that kind of spin into the population that the SNP are still a viable force in politics. But it isn't washing. People know what Ipsos are. People know. They can see with their own eyes. And they see time and time and time again. All the polls go down, 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 down. Ipsos, down, 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 down. It becomes obvious. Embarrassingly so, perhaps. A new survey from Ipsos shows the SNP will win just 15 seats on July the 4th. But the situation is fluid in a dozen constituencies where the contest is considered a toss-up. Now this of course is why I say, and Craig and that Preston journalist say, tactical voting is key. It's absolutely key. And don't be complacent and get off your backside and get out and vote, and make sure you do. Don't sit down on that day. Go. Make it a high turnout, but make it a high turnout for us. Let them sit at home and be complacent. Let them lose. Let them watch as there are no SNP MPs. I mean, I'd like it. I don't think it'll happen, but boy, it would be magnificent. But certainly, single figures would be so damaging to them. It would end their party. That loss of funding, £1 million a year, would just devastate them. Anyway, a dozen Scottish seats are too close to call at the general election, according to a new mega poll. But even if the SNP won them all, the Nats would still be facing damaging losses on July the 4th, and there's no way they're going to be winning them all. Even the sort of ones that are weighted towards them, the damage is already being done. There's too many people. 25% don't knows, and if you don't know, the last place you're going to think is the SNP because they're the current incumbent government of Scotland. I know this is an MP, not an MSP, but people do look at them and they see the mess, and so it does kind of shift the viewpoint. It's you have a parallax view of what's going on. Ipsos published its first multiple regression and post stratification, an MRP model, for the 2024 general election yesterday, and it makes grim reading for John Swinney. Ipsos polling had previously suggested reports of an SNP collapse were being exaggerated, because of course they do. They want to get paid. And has even faced accusations of bias. Well, yes, we all know. It's not accusations. We can see the bias. The bias is plain. But it predicts the Nats will be left with just 15 seats when the dust settles on July the 5th. Even a best case scenario for the SNP has them winning just 23 seats, way down on the 48 they bagged in 2029. And short of the majority they claim would pave the way for the breakup of the UK. They are at best going to get 23, which is less than half, fewer than half than what they are now. And so there's no way they can claim this as a victory. And if they can get it down to 15, according to the Ipsos poll, that's devastating. But, good people, vote. Get it right. Let's get them into single figures at the very least. The poll also makes grim reading for the Tories, because of course it does, who could end up with no seats. Could end up with no seats. I don't foresee that. I do think the Tories will have some, 4, 5, maybe 6. Other polls are showing they may even gain one. But, you know, they won't have many, but they will have seats. It's very unlikely not to. Especially, I think, in the northeast. I think the Tories are going to be strong in the northeast. I know they're sort of strong on the border, but I think they'll be strong in the northeast, given the two main parties, SNP and Labour, being both very, very anti-oil and gas. That's not good for the northeast. And I think the northeast needs to, you need to pull your finger out, look at the numbers, and actually say, you can't. You just can't. Fears are growing that even just a 5% reform vote could let in the divisive SNP. Yeah, this is the thing. It is hard. It is very, very hard. But you've got to get them out. Anyway, the 10 seats that Ipsos determines as a toss-up are Gordon and Buchan, West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine, Stirling and Strathallan, Arbroath and Bretty Ferry, Dundee Central, Alloa and Grangemouth. You see, Alloa and Grangemouth, given what the SNP have done to Grangemouth, you'd wonder why they'd even have a chance there, wouldn't you? Anyway, Falkirk, Edinburgh East and Musselburgh, Berwickshire, Roxburgh and Selkirk, Dumfriesshire, Clydesdale and Tweedale, 1 seat, and North Ayrshire and Arran and Central Ayrshire. So, I mean, there's a good old spread all over the place, isn't it? It's not as though it's in one geographical area. It's east, west, north and south. You know, it's weird, isn't it? The Lib Dems are expected to win 5 seats, up from 4, with Labour leading the way in 30 and the SNP in 10. If replicated at the general election, Douglas Ross would fail to win in Aberdeenshire. Well, that'd be him out. I mean, that would be... I don't think actually he'd be that bothered if he did lose, because he is wanting to concentrate on Holyrood. So, whilst it's bad if an SNP gets in, I don't think he would be overly bothered. But I don't know. I think because it's Aberdeenshire, I think Ross has a good chance, obviously because of the oil situation. The SNP would be almost wiped out in the central belt, with high-profile figures like Joanna Cherry, Alison Thewlis, Amy Callan and Anam Kazir set for the boot. That's a shame about Anam Kazir, isn't it? All that money in little brown envelopes, apparently, allegedly. Wasted. Oh dear, what a shame. She'll have to go back, work in the call centre alongside her mate. Anyway, elsewhere, the likes of Alan Smith may take a narrow lead into polling day, and even the Nat's longest-serving MP, Wishart, may be facing a nervous 2 weeks. I would love Wishart to go. Wishart annoys me. Even his face just annoys me. It's like his false teeth are too small. He's got that sort of pus mouth. And it's just funny to see. And I would just love to see Wishart stomp out. He'd just retire. He doesn't care. He's old enough. He's been there. Let him go and retire. Do what he wants. The party's Westminster leader, Stephen Flynn, also just has a narrow advantage in Aberdeenshire South. Again, Aberdeen. Come on, guys. You're up there. North East, do the decent thing. Get rid of Flynn. He lies. He says he cares about the oil and gas industry. But, that's just his sop. That's just him flying the flag, hoping to stay in a nice cushy job because he doesn't believe in it at all. He's part of the party that wants to close it down. It's just cracking. It's all over, isn't it? The Scottish poll on Tuesday suggested Reform could win 7% of the vote ahead of the Scottish Greens. Putting the Greens down in... the Greens aren't going to win a single seat, let's be honest. And they published their manifesto. But that manifesto is for 2026. But, the fact that they get there at all. I do hope that the first thing the Labour do in 2026 when they win is to say and make a rule change that no list vote can hold a ministerial position. And that way you'll never get the likes of the Greens destroying policies again. 200 million, 500 million by the time it's finished for the Greens and the DSR, the DRS. They shouldn't have been there. Anyway, enough of that. Round off, come up, and we'll move on. Now, come the election, we want to get all of them out, of course. But Flynn and Wishart, they're the two big dogs. Waking up on Friday and seeing, Beryl and Pistol Pete wandering off unemployed and unemployable would be such a delight, wouldn't it? Anyway, well then there. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. Do hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.